Hi, my name is Jenny. I am the mom of four, the homeschool mom of four, and that is what I spend most of my days doing. I also have a growing tiny photography business. I started studying photography in 2019, and since then I've discovered that photography works really well both as a creative outlet and as a way to capture those precious memories of my children, and it enables me to do about 80% of my work from home, and so I'm able to still homeschool. So it works really, really well in my life. This year I've set out to learn vlogging. Well, specifically I want to learn videography, and so I thought the best way to do that would be to make myself do a video every single week. And so as we go into the video for this week, one thing that keeps coming up over and over in my life right now is the theme of light versus darkness. I am, along with my husband, a youth group leader at our church, and so we are covering John 4 currently, but in the book of John, the Gospel of John, the themes light and darkness just show up over and over, and so I started kind of tracing that thread, and so that was one of the things that led me to want to make this week's video. So thanks for watching.
Light overcoming darkness. John 1, verse 5. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. This verse resonated with me this past Advent season and Christmastide. I've been tracing the thread of this theme of light overcoming darkness all the way back, and I found it all throughout the Bible. We're probably all very familiar with Genesis 1, verse 4. God saw the light was good, and he separated the light from the darkness. Then moving forward in 2 Samuel 22:29, we read, "You, Lord, are my lamp. The Lord turns my darkness into light." The book of Job is full of light and dark metaphors. Job identifies the pain and suffering that he's going through, as well as his resulting depression, as darkness. And then he finally cries out in Job 30, verse 26, "Yet when I hoped for good, evil came. When I looked for light, there came the darkness." When God comes to talk to Job and to rebuke his friends, it seems as if God himself is touching upon the topic in Job 38, verse 19. "What is the way to the abode of light, and where does the darkness reside?" Now, this is in the midst of God reminding Job there is a God and that he is not him. The Psalms are replete with the darkness and light motif. Psalm 18, verse 28, "You, Lord, keep my lamp burning. My God turns my darkness into light." Psalm 112, verse 4, "Even in darkness, light dawns for the upright, for those who are gracious and compassionate and righteous." And that's NIV. The CSB translated, "Light shines in the darkness for the upright. He is gracious, compassionate, and righteousness." And righteous. And of course, I like that translation better because rather than giving us a task list, it's reminding us that God is gracious. Psalm 139 is one of my all-time favorites. If I were making a now that's what I call music CD for the Bible, then Psalm 139 would definitely be in my top 10 list of Psalms. Psalm 139, 11 through 12 says, and this is from the NASB this time because that's the Bible I learned it out of. It says, "If I say, surely the darkness will overwhelm me, the light around me will be night. Even darkness is not dark to you, and the night is as bright as the day. Darkness and light are alike to you." And isn't that really good news? That darkness and light are alike to God, whether that means that he's seeing us in our darkness, physical darkness, or spiritual darkness. And Isaiah is another favorite book of mine. And Isaiah uses darkness and light as metaphors for spiritual darkness. And it's the fight of spiritual darkness versus the walking in wisdom and understanding with God. That is understood as the light. Isaiah 5:20 says, "Woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who substitute darkness for light and light for darkness, who substitute bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter." Isaiah 9:2 says, "The people who walk in darkness will see a great light. Those who live in the dark land, the light will shine upon them." I love this because this is 500 years before Jesus came to earth, but it's predicting how he's coming and where he's coming and what he's coming to do. He's coming to give us that spiritual light that we're all missing. And Isaiah is such a fun book because all throughout it, even as God is warning the Israelites about their impending judgment, he's still reassuring them of his ultimate plan to restore them, and then ultimately through Jesus to provide a way of escape from death for all mankind. Through Jesus. So it is a book full of, God's disappointment and how the Israelites went astray, but it's also a book of his plan to redeem them and to restore them. Isaiah 42:16, God is speaking and he says, I will lead those who are blind by way they have not known, in paths they have not known. I will guide them. I will turn their darkness into light before them, and uneven land into plains. These are the things I will do, and I will not leave them undone. This is primarily referring to spiritual blindness, and although we do know that Jesus cured physical blindness while he was on earth. And then in Isaiah 50, verse 10, who is among you who fears the Lord, who obeys the voice of his servant, who walks in the darkness and has no light? Let him trust in the name of the Lord and rely on him as his God. Trust, that vital component of being in a relationship with God. And finally, we come to Isaiah 58. All of Isaiah 58 is beautiful, and verses 8 and 10 speak of our light versus darkness theme, but I want to give us some context. So I'm going to go ahead and start at verse 5 and then go to 12. Verse 5, is it a fast like this that I choose, a day for a person to humble himself? Is it for bowing one's head like a reed and for spreading out sackcloth and ashes for a bed? Will you call this a fast, even then an acceptable day to the Lord? Is this not the fast that I choose? To release the bonds of wickedness, to undo the ropes of the yoke, to let the oppressed go. When you see the naked, to cover him and not hide yourself from your own flesh, then your light will break out like the dawn, and your recovery will spring up quickly. Your righteousness will go out before you. The glory of the Lord will be your rear guard. Then you will call on the Lord, and the Lord will answer, and you will cry for help, and he will say, here I am. If you remove the yoke from your midst, the pointing finger and speaking wickedness, if you offer yourself to the hungry and satisfy the need of the afflicted, then your light will rise in the darkness, and your gloom will become like midday. The Lord will continually give and satisfy your desire in scorched places, and give strength to your bones. You will be like a watered garden, and like a spring of water whose waters do not fail. Those from among you will rebuild the ancient ruins. You will raise up the age-old foundations. You will be called the repairers of the breach, the restorers of the streets in which to dwell. Isaiah 58 is so powerful. It tells us how we overcome our spiritual darkness. We trust God and we do good for our fellow humans. We're called to feed the hungry, to clothe the naked, to remove the pointing finger, which just means stop judging other people, to stop speaking wickedness, to seek justice. These are God's priorities, and they ought to be our priorities as well. And then if we do these things, God promises to guide us, to satisfy our desires, to give strength to our bones, and to light our way. What a beautiful passage. Well, friends, in our search for the theme of light versus darkness, okay, so as far as our theme of light and darkness, we didn't even make it out of the Old Testament. And there are so many beautiful passages about light versus darkness in all of the Old Testament prophets, especially, Jeremiah, Lamentations, Ezekiel, Daniel, Amos, and then of course once we get to Micah, then all of those light and dark passages are pretty much about Jesus, so that's pretty exciting. And then light versus darkness is the central message that John the Baptist was preaching, and so then we have light and darkness all throughout Jesus's sermons, and then continuing on into Paul's epistles. So we may revisit light versus darkness, but these are some of the things that I've been considering this week. And I do thank you for watching, and I hope you will consider the theme of light and darkness in your spiritual walk this week as well. Thanks. Bye.